Well, it's back to school time, and they say everything we need to know we learned in kindergarten. But what about living sustainably? Nobody taught me that.
Apparently, dear, you went to the wrong kindergarten.
Oh.
But coming up, we'll visit one public school in Chicago that's teaching kids how to be academic scholars and sustainable citizens.
And then it's back to college. We're off to Cornell University to understand the science behind protein and a plant-based diet.
Then I'm going to school you in the kitchen with a healthy back-to-school snack, a raw, crunchy granola. Everybody's going to love it.
And if all this talk about back to school is giving you the end of summer blues, we'll help you play hooky with a spa getaway to Ojai, California. It's all coming up right here on Conscious Living. With the American education system in a state of crisis, the future of our children remains uncertain. But here on the southwest side of Chicago, there's one school, the Academy for Global Citizenship, that's not only teaching kids how to be great scholars, it's also teaching them how to be citizens of the world.
Welcome to the Academy for Global Citizenship.
Center off. X, size. Okay. Dry your clothes outside instead of inside. Do you have that one?
This is how it works. First you have to pedal a little hard. See, when it glows, it has lots of energy.
Come on, Jasmine! Go, Gabby! Go and see
Founder and executive director Sara Eple is the inspired visionary behind the success of AGC.
The Academy for Global Citizenship, or AGC, is a new Chicago public school that was founded in 2008. And we started with kindergarten and first grade, and every year we grow a grade level, so eventually we'll be about 550 kindergarten through 8th graders. Well, AGC is really focused on the whole child in a very globally and environmentally relevant way. So at AGC, we not only spend time really emphasizing math and literacy, but we also spend time every day in our organic schoolyard garden. We start our day with breakfast and have a really unique food program here at the school, so we believe that nutrition is essential to learning. We've got everything from our schoolyard chickens to yoga that's integrated every morning. So a lot of innovative components that we believe are really going to create a comprehensive structure that supports our students' learning. You know, so many schools across the nation are so pressed for every moment of the day that it's really difficult to take the time to focus on components like physical activity and nutrition education, which we believe very much contribute to our students' ability to learn. We're really focused a lot on where our food comes from, and so developing partnerships locally to make connections with local farmers. And so our students really do meet those people who are growing our food and also take the time to visit their farms and to really make this connection so that eventually they really begin to look at their tray or their plate quite differently.
So what do you got growing here?
Well, we've got some quinoa, cabbage, kale, and bok choy.
And do the kids like the food?
Interestingly, we do have the highest participation now in the entire city of Chicago. So 98% of our students are eating food at school, which is quite incredible. And we really equate that to not only the incredible chef that we have, who's preparing the food, but also the comprehensive nature of what we're doing here. So growing the food, spending the time in the garden, the nutrition education, the parental engagement, the types of after-school activities and programs that we have to really connect our children with their food source. We also have our wellness class happening outside, so our students have physical activity on a daily basis. And so I think right now they're doing a little bit of running, burn off some of that energy from lunch.
So you have a tea garden.
We do. This is our Japanese tea garden. We're actually making some loose leaf teas. As you can see, some of our herbs are drying. We've got lemon verbena and mint and different types of sage and chamomile growing.
Unlike most public schools, AGC adheres to the International Baccalaureate program currently being implemented in 130 countries around the world. This holistic curriculum has dramatically improved the reading levels of AGC students, even the kindergarten class, 98% of which now read at their grade level, and 20% of which are reading a full grade ahead.
Now remember guys, this is going to be your rough draft, so if there's anything that you don't like about the rough draft, that's okay, because we're going to go ahead and do a final draft afterwards. This is to get your ideas flowing, to start getting some ideas about what you would like to have on your final brochure.
One of the first things you'll notice when you walk into one of our classrooms is that there's no teacher sitting or standing at the front of the classroom dictating to a group of students in desks, but rather you'll still see students sort of working autonomously, working in different parts of the classroom, really working with their own unique learning styles. So we really strive to celebrate different ways of learning. Some people learn more effectively through moving, so you'll see some of our students are more active when they're learning, and some of our students learn better with tactile learning, and so we've got a number of great resources that are used to really support all of our students.
What's wrong with it?
One of AGC's best resources is its teachers.
I hope that the students that will leave this school are students that are conscious of who they are as a person, emotionally, intellectually, but also as a global citizen. Go out there and make the changes to improve the world, because I often tell them that change starts with you. And I want them to be lifelong learners, but also teach others about the world, about your experiences, and about how we can tolerate each other and how we can work together and how we can make this world a better place by taking care of it in any way we can.
Is there an AGC song? Can you sing it for me?
Is the place to be. We're a peaceful community. We help the earth and we help our friends. We're global citizens until the end. AGC is the place to be. Lots of fun for you and me. Go Orcas!
We've all learned a little bit about nutrition, from the 4 food groups to the food pyramid, to the recommended amounts of meat, dairy, grains, and vegetables the RDA, or Recommended Daily Allowance, tells us our bodies need to function. But with so many fad diets from Atkins to South Beach and even paleo, and the so-called health experts advocating for the supremacy of animal protein, single vitamin nutrition, and superfood powerhouses, it can be overwhelming to decide what information we can truly rely upon and which information is just marketing hype. Since most medical doctors get less than 5 hours of nutrition education, we decided to separate fact from fiction and find out for ourselves what the science says. That's when we discovered the T. Colin Campbell Center for Nutrition Studies in Ithaca, New York. In concert with Cornell University and the eCornell online learning system, Dr. Campbell has created a 6-week intensive course on plant-based nutrition.
We need to have a course on the government's role in spreading or not spreading this message.
Michelle, yeah, she's
Michelle who?
Michelle Simon.
Michelle
Yeah.
Simon, that's right.
As a PhD professor emeritus of nutrition at Cornell, and the author of New York Times bestsellers The China Study and Whole, Dr. Campbell is arguably the top expert in the world on nutrition. Over the course of his illustrious career, he's spent over 50 years researching the impact of diet on health and disease, including 27 years of research funded by the National Institutes of Health.
The fundamental assumption of the way we practice medicine is flat out wrong. What we're doing is we're using medicines, foreign compounds, most of the times toxic, We're using foreign compounds to try to reduce the symptoms of the disease. That's what we're doing. We're not treating at all the cause, because doctors aren't trained in nutrition. They can't even begin to think this way. And what they are trained in is reductionist medicine. So the professionals, whether they're researchers like myself or whether it's clinical practitioners, are not getting the information right. And that's been the way it has been for half a century, more than that.
With learning modules covering topics like the standard American diet, the dangers of too much animal protein, and how to identify unsubstantiated nutritional claims, and lectures from the top medical doctors and researchers in the world. This course clarifies the link between diet and chronic diseases like diabetes, hypertension, heart disease, osteoporosis, and even cancer.
We reverse cancer with non-mutation events. You know, the animals are exposed to a carcinogen that starts the formation of liver cancer, causes a mutation, right? And according to traditional theory, you should have a series of mutations that'll keep on progressing. We actually found that that will go forward only if these animals had protein in excess of what they needed to have. I mean, protein is an essential nutrient. And so the protein that was fed in excess was casein, the main protein of cow's milk. So it makes the journey go forward for these cancers. Cow's milk. Cow's milk protein. The cancer is going forward, progressing. We dropped the level from, that was 20% of total calories, which is not real high, but it's high enough. We drop it down to 5%. We turn the cancer off. We turn around and give the 20% protein back again. We turn it on. We give them low protein, turn it off. We could turn on and turn off the cancer. Nutrition is not a function of individual nutrients. You know, when we, in research, do research on just one nutrient or one mechanism or that sort of thing, we're only looking at a part of the whole. So it was possible then to begin to explain why we have so much confusion and why, in fact, nutrition is not taught in medical schools. Because the entire practice of medicine is a reductionist strategy, one pill at a time, working on one disease, all premised on the assumption that somehow we've identified a specific mechanism for that drug to work or nutrient. And it's wrong. It's simply flat out wrong. It's created enormous amounts of confusion when protein was first discovered. You know, and we thought protein was the elixir of life. It was the stuff of civilization itself, and all this crazy stuff. And then we got on to thinking that animal protein, most people in the beginning thought protein meant the same thing as meat, when it's not. Didn't realize that plants had protein too. But so the idea that protein is animal-based, that was a big error. All of a sudden then you become aware of how we distorted our understanding of nutrition. But we kept on thinking this way as a society, that we need more protein, we need more protein, and that usually meant meat, milk, and eggs. And when we do that, we think that way, and we think about how much protein we're consuming, and think about it in this more holistic sense. Well, what does that do to all the other stuff we're eating? All of a sudden then some new lights come on. And you realize that plants, you know, whole food, plant-based diet has all the protein we need. We don't need any extra protein. That can be demonstrated very clearly. The holistic effect is so powerful. And when we distort the diet that much, and then that begins to create illness and disease. The long-term evidence for this is obviously very good. We already know that from science. Short-term, they can see it in a week, 2 weeks, amazing changes. And also in the process, when they do that, then their tastes begin to change and everything. And they get to a point, they really do get to a point where they don't want the other stuff. This is a lifestyle, you have to stay with it. Can't do it this 2 weeks or this 3 weeks or something like that, like you do with a drug regimen, and then go back to doing what you did wrong. People all the time, they say, oh, I tried that. You know, you say, I don't want to hear you say you tried it. That's not the way the mind works. Don't Don't say you tried it. If you tried it, you know, it's a waste of time. You can't go say, oh, I tried, because then you go back later and say, oh, I tried that, but it didn't work. It means you didn't care about it in the first place. So you don't try, you just do it. I like that concept.
Dr. Campbell not only walks his talk, his personal commitment to following a whole foods, plant-based diet has kept him young and vital well into his 80s.
I'm 82 and I still run. And I feel really in great health. And I don't take any pills, just an occasional B12 supplement. And I just feel great. My wife has a similar story.
Everybody loves cereal. I mean, who doesn't love it? It was the first food we ever created, right? Or at least made as little kids. Put it in a bowl. I still remember the bowls I ate as a little kid. Cereal. But the problem with a lot of cereal is that it has lots and lots of sugar. Most cereals are just literally bowls of sugar, and oftentimes if it doesn't have sugar, then it tastes like crap. So today I've got a great raw vegan granola. It's delicious. It's full of bold flavors. It's easy to make. We're going to pop it in a dehydrator to keep the raw vibes going. Make sure we maintain those enzymes and get that live food. And it's going to be super easy to make. You're going to be able to love it. You're going to offer it to your friends for dinner, perhaps, maybe not. Anyway, you're going to like it. Let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to drop, we need a fairly large mixing bowl. And we're going to drop about 6 cups of oats. And these are raw oats. You don't want to cooked oats. Raw oats into our mixing bowl. Okay. And then to that, we're going to add our walnuts and pecans here. 2 cups of walnuts, 2 cups of pecan pieces. Okay. And then about 2 cups of organic raisins. Always trying to do organic because it does make a difference. And then we're going to add to that about a 1/4 cup of cinnamon. And so I'm going to actually add this in layers. I'm going to add about 1/8 of a cup first. And then we're going to add some molasses. Okay, so we're going to add about 2 tablespoons or so of I guess you'd call this blackstrap molasses. Okay. And then we're going to add just a dash or so of nutmeg. Organic nutmeg. If you have fresh nutmeg, that'd be nice to just sort of zest it over. And then to this, I'm going to add some maple syrup. That's my sweetener of choice. In theory, you could use coconut nectar or any other sweetener of your choice, but obviously the maple for breakfast is something about that just brings up all those great memories. Okay. And then I'm going to add a little bit of salt. Maybe 1/8 of a teaspoon, something like that, 1/4 teaspoon. Just a little bit of salt to get that sweet and salty vibe going. And then we're just going to mix it up. Okay? Real easy to do. Just going to mix this up. Get all the nice, delicious flavors going. Okay, see how this is getting that nice dark color? Okay, it smells really good. Okay, and then I'm going to add the rest of my cinnamon to this. A little more nutmeg. And a little more maple syrup. And a little more molasses. Okay. And we'll just give this another spin. This is the hardest part. Who thought making granola could be this delicious and this easy? And then what we're going to do is we're going to use our dehydrator. And again, what the dehydrator does is it basically removes the moisture and essentially cooks stuff without raising the temperature to where you kill enzymes. Okay, so we're going to cook it at about 115 degrees. And I like to leave it, you could leave it for maybe 12 hours, but I like to leave it at least a day, typically 2 or even 3 days, because it just continues to develop the crunch. The flavors continue to meld together and blend together, and it just ends up being super delicious. So I think we're good to go here. And so all we're going to do is we're going to take this, and we're just going to put this on our dehydrator sheet, okay? So we're just going to sort of dump this on here. My hands are washed, which is good. That would be an additional flavor profile if they weren't, but they are, so that's nice. Those who are concerned about those types of things. So now that our granola's on here, we're just going to spread it just about an evenly nice, even sheet of this. Okay, and then all we're going to do is just going to prop this into our dehydrator. Okay, at about 118 degrees, 115 actually. Okay. And then we're just going to let it sit. And here is our previously baked granola. Oh, the flavors and the smells are just outstanding. Delicious flavor profile. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to grab a chunk and then just throw that into our bowl. Break it up a little bit. And then the next thing we're going to do is, now you could just enjoy that with some hemp milk or some rice milk or some almond milk or whatever. But what I like to do with my raw granola is I like to make a fresh hemp milk, okay? And so how I do it, in my trusty Omega blender, I'm going to add about 2 cups of coconut water. Now you could also use regular water if you wanted, but I like coconut water because it adds a little bit of sweetness to it. And then to that, we're going to add about 2 or 3 tablespoons of hemp seeds, okay? And the nice thing also about making hemp milk is it's faster because you don't have to use a nut bag. So if you make like almond milk, you have to basically get a nut bag to basically get rid of all the little seed stuff. But this just blends right in, and we're going to blend it for maybe 20 seconds. Okay. Now, some people, if they like their milk a little sweeter, you could add some vanilla to it, vanilla extract, or fresh vanilla and blend it in. But my cereal is sweet enough, and so I like that nice milk flavor just to sort of contrast the flavors. And you can see how frothy that is. Really nice froth. And then we're just going to pour that over our granola. Okay? So we'll grab our bowl of granola. Looks good. Let's dig in. So good. All I need is some Saturday morning cartoons. So now that we've tasted some delicious granola, let's get a little granola with a visit to a nouveau-hippie hotspot, Ojai, California. Coming right up.
When I take a vacation, I'm easy to please. There's just 3 things I need: a good workout, time to explore the local flavors, and plenty of pampering. In the Ojai Valley, I found all this and more. Surrounded by hills and mountains in all directions, and a perfect climate for miles and miles of fruit orchards, horse farms, and hiking trails, the Chumash Indians revered this land as sacred and called it home. My home away from home was the eco-friendly Sunito Inn. Owner Jeff Wells was a great host.
The Chumash Indians gave it the word Ojai, meaning nest. Sunito, it means your nest in Ojai. One of the other aspects of Sunito that guests tell me that they experienced when staying here has really been sort of the solitude, the peacefulness, almost like it's their home. It's really uniquely built around a central courtyard that just sort of gives a really homey environment, but it's contained within walking distance to the Ojai village. You know, the town is sort of that little quaint Mayberry town of yesteryears. Sometimes the expansive hiking trails and golfing, spying aren't utilized as much just because the person wants to get away and just relax. The best amenity of that Ojai brings is just the true relaxation.
First stop, the day spa of Ojai. My treatments included a first-class organic facial, a hot stone massage, and my first ever session in a detoxifying infrared sauna. The next day, the Sunito prepared an organic lunch for me to enjoy amongst the soothing orchards of the award-winning Ojai Olive Farm. After a relaxing few days, I needed a serious workout. So Jeff called in the reinforcements and scheduled an educational and challenging trek high into the Ojai Hills.
But this ridge, you can get up there by 4x4. It looks like an armpit, but if you were to dig this up, the local Chumash Indians could dig it up and get a lather out of it, so they use it as soap. Very sweet, huh?
Almost smells like a liqueur.
Yeah, it's called sagebrush, California sagebrush.
We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Ways of chin-updom.